Hi, Ryan Barath here with Golf WRX, and I am here with Sean Toulon of Toulon Design. And we are also here at the Callaway Performance Studio in the Odyssey putter lab.
Pretty cool.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks. Nice to meet you.
So we've got a bunch of new stuff. We've got a new shaft as well. Why don't you just run us through everything that you got that's new, and just kind of what your idea and what your philosophy is as far as design goes.
Yeah, great. Let's talk first just on Stroke Lab in general, because that's really the umbrella technology, if you will, that kind of goes over all of the products for this year. So one of the things that we track is overall performance of golfers, right? And as club designers and creators, we want to make sure that golfers are improving, right?
That's our goal.
That would be good. So we've spent a ton of time over the years, as a lot of other putter guys have, really working on things that golfers aren't very good at. One is alignment. Most golfers are terrible with alignment, so we've come up with all kinds of different ideas, whether it's two balls or long lines or dots or whatever, to try to help golfers align a putter better. Unfortunately, over the years, most golfers are still terrible at alignment, so we're really not getting better there. We've spent a ton of time on trying to create systems or methods by which you can improve forward roll on a golf ball, right? A ball that rolls forward better is better than one that comes off a backspin.
What system do you use to measure that?
So we use, in fact, it's right there. Quintec is the best one.
Okay, yeah.
But in the lab here, we've got SAM, we've got Quintec, we've got some of our own proprietary stuff, we've got cameras all over the place, so pretty much anything that you can measure in here. When we go back, to headquarters, we've got sound chambers and all kinds of different tools that we use to measure things. But we're trying to help golfers with things that they're not very good at. The problem is they're still not very good at it. So when we look at their performance is better, but it's not as good as it should be. So we started to really dig into what's going on. And the biggest problem that we have, which should not be shocking, is golfers' putting strokes are just not very consistent, right? So, so we started to work with Phil Kenyon, who is now, I think he's teaching 9 of the 12 European Ryder Cup players. So he's the guy right now, and he happens to be a dear friend of our company. And one of the things that Phil talks about is alignment. It's better to align good than poorly, for sure. But as long as your motion matches up with your alignment, and you can do that all the time, you can be a great putter. So if somebody comes to him and aligns left and comes through with the face angle open compared to that alignment, and he makes putts, he's going to say, keep going.
So
right?
It's more about, as far as the stroke, just like with full swing, it's more about consistency than thinking about trying to be zeroed out all the time.
Absolutely.
TrackMan.
Yeah, because there's different ways to get zeroed out, right? I mean, we would love to see you aim perfect and deliver the putter on a beautiful arc and have the face square to the target at impact. That would be awesome. But however you do it, you just need to be able to do it all the time. The biggest problem is golfers don't do it all the time. So we started to get curious, well, why is that? So there's a bunch of things that have been happening. One, if you just look at, and we've tracked putter head weights from 1975 to now, and in the mid-70s, the average weight of a head of a putter was about 290 grams-ish, some even lighter, but let's say on average about 290. Now, this has really been, I think, heavily influenced by agronomy, so green speeds have gotten faster and faster and faster. Head weights now are 350 and above, right? So head weights have gotten dramatically heavier. The shaft has really not changed much. It's pretty much been steel the whole way, and the flex hasn't really changed. So now you've got really heavy heads. You've got shafts that are relatively soft now compared to what they used to be. And the biggest change is we've seen this monumental shift in swing weights. It's not uncommon now, especially with super stroke grips, or these large oversized grips that are synthetic, that are very light, to see swing weights now that are F2, F3, those really, really heavy.
Yeah.
And what we've seen is it's gotten to the point where the balance of it is really, it's disconnected to a golfer's putting stroke and the overall motion. So what we worked with Phil is, how do we get this whole thing kind of back into some sort of harmonic balance? And what we've done is we basically we've attacked it like we would attack improving the moment of inertia of a head, right? So if you look at a head and I said, Ryan, I want to make this head more forgiving, we take weight out of the center, move it to the side, probably make it a little bit bigger, blah, 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 and the inertia would go up and it would be technically more forgiving. We applied that to the thinking of the entire putter.
So you're designing the putter from the ground up instead of just focusing on just a head design or just alignment, is making sure that the whole thing works for the golf.
Yep, and we started to really pay attention to the build, right? So the Stroke Lab putters that we're launching across the whole line, whether it's a Toulon, whether it's an EXO or a Stroke Lab, the overall weights of them really haven't changed. They're about 540, 545 grams, the overall weight.
Okay.
But the thing that's driving this massive change, which is improving a golfer's consistency like dramatically, is pulling the weight out of the center and moving it more towards the edges. It's not counterbalancing as much as it would be a rebalancing. So instead of the shaft weighing 115 or 120 grams, our new Stroke Lab shaft, which is stiffer, weighs 75 grams. So we've taken a little bit of weight, added to the head, and about 10 grams. So the head weights are 360 to 365, but we've taken about 30 grams and put it in the butt end. So the grip and the butt weight weigh about 105 grams.
Now, does that come from specifically the grip? Because you obviously have a lot of different grip options for the putters, or is it something that's underneath the grip?
Yeah, it's underneath the grip.
Okay.
So what's important is from about here to the end weighs around 105 grams. Okay. And so really what we've done is we've moved the weight about 23% more towards the hands. So the swing weights now are back into mid to high D range on like DV or on 34 or 35 inch putters.
Okay.
So way different than they were, and literally we've tested now. We've had these prototypes now for over a year. Tested thousands of golfers. We're seeing
every handicap range,
all handicap ranges, but specifically really good players, and we see massive improvements in the length of a golfer's backstroke, about a 20% improvement, about a 20-ish, a little bit more actually, percentage improvement in how high the putter is off the ground. Is way much more consistent. The face angle at the end of the backstroke. So when you get it in a very consistent position back here, the amount of work you need to do to get it back to where you want it's a lot simpler, right?
Yeah.
So it's just about becoming more consistent, and we're seeing it. And we couldn't be more excited. We've had 3 wins already as a prototype. We brought it to the Australian PGA Championship or Masters. I can't remember which one, but it was a month ago. And we put 25 in play the first day. I mean, so things like that just don't happen. So
early adoption, I think, is a sign that the tour players, especially at that level, they really trust it, right? And they're finding a noticeable difference because percentage points matter with them.
Yeah, and so we have Michelle Wee here. So we can talk to Michelle. I'd love to have you get her input on it. Sergio was just here. But I mean, the number of players, Francesco Molinari put it in play this week in a Toulon Madison. It's just, what's interesting about it is even the best players in the world, when we give it to them, they'll say, I feel something different, but I don't really know what it is. So then when they putt with it a little bit more, the comments that we hear are, geez, it just feels more stable, it feels smoother, it's easier. It's just better. I really believe that this is going to be one of those moments in time where we go back and say, remember when we always putted with steel shafts in our putters? Yeah. I mean, we're all in on this. I mean, the data just would tell you that it's the only way to go.
That's awesome. So what designs do we have here? Are we looking at? We have.
So this is a pretty interesting one. Some older members of the forum might remember Tuttle, and this was inspired by a Tuttle. Certainly looks quite different than an original Tuttle. It's actually a little bit more size and shape wise, I guess more similar to an old Zebra or something like that. But it's just a beautiful, simple kind of ear-shaped mallet. That's done really well. Danny Willett has already won with this. This has been very, very popular with players around the world.
The original, didn't have a warp? Was it the one with the warped sole?
Yeah, we did not do that. But but the fact that it's larger and it's hollow, this is, the inspiration was really what could we do to make a Tuttle. The name was fun and kind of clever, so we wanted to kind of bring back that. Anyways, the people have loved the shapes. I think we're going to see a bunch of this in play.
Cool.
Then on the Toulon side, there's really we've gone through the entire line and really redone it. I think what most people are going to notice first is the full face deep diamond mill,
Yeah.
which a lot of the forum members have been asking about, and we did it on the Latrobe, and people have really enjoyed that. But we've gone through the entire line, and I think we've done a magnificent job of just getting them to look.
Once you find the shapes, for you, it's all about refinement, right? Like you're finding what not necessarily what trends are,
Yeah.
but what the player is looking for. And
Right.
that, for example, like talking about the face,
Yeah.
changing those little things,
Yeah.
for you is as you say, is what golfers are looking for, because you're taking feedback and putting it into the product.
We are, and the other part of it is, it's not just aesthetics, but especially in a line like this, it's a lot about aesthetics for sure. But it's also, how does it sound? How does it feel? And we also want to match that sound and the feel to the amount of ball speed, right? So we call it impact ratio. How fast the ball is exiting, right? So if a putter is louder, we want it to have a little bit more speed coming off the face.
Yeah.
Something that's a little bit softer, like the White Hot Micro Hinge insert in this. It's firmer than what we had last year, even firmer than the White Hot that we had before. Players have loved it, but the ball speed is a little slower than a traditional mill putter would be, but the sound is down a little bit. So there's a balance there, right?
You're correlating the
Speed to sound.
to speed.
Right.
Okay.
If I gave you a driver that was really loud and the same driver that was really quiet, and I asked you, Ryan, which one do you think goes farther?
I would hope
You would say the loud one,
Yeah.
right? But so that's just a way of our brain really beginning to try to predict distance, right? How far, if I hit it this far or hit it this hard, the ball is going to go this far. Right?
Yeah.
So anyways, let me keep going. So this is the new Las Vegas number 7. This will be available in both a double bend face balance and this new flow neck, which I think just turned out.
These are what like we see on our forums, and Greg does our what's in the bag. The heel or the mallet with some toe hang
yeah.
seems to be really popular.
Yep. So that everybody is different, and our work with Phil Kenyon has been, less about trying to match it to the arc of a golfer's stroke. I mean, Lauren Roberts has arc to his stroke, but instead of it having a normal flow, it comes back heel first. So everybody's different, and it's. If I gave this to some golfers, more golfers than not, they'd see more rotation. Some golfers don't embrace that and would fight that. But for a lot of golfers, when you get a putter that's got more toe hang, they'll want the toe to flow more, and just the biomechanics of the stroke will make that happen. Some golfers don't want much, right? Or don't want the feeling of much, or maybe are trying to slow down some rotation. Maybe a face balance putter might be better for them.
Okay.
But anyway, so this shape has been very, very popular. And then finally, this is probably our most popular new one in the EXO line, which is our 7 Mini, which I think just turned out great. So it's got a little bar in the back here, which really helps improve the sound and kind of quiets down some of the
Takes out the tuning fork effect.
Yeah, exactly. They're actually, when you see it, the FEA on it, they actually kind of oscillate this way, which can get you a pretty funky sound. So that takes all of that away. And this has been really well received. So
it looks really sharp, especially just the shape. It doesn't. Again, talking about the refinement versus an overhaul.
Yeah.
Because you have shapes that players love. Like you see them in the bags of PGA Tour players. You see them on the course at your Muni, at the private club. It doesn't matter. A lot of people are using Odyssey, and this is, again, it's just a refinement for those people looking for just a very specific shape.
I think so. But I think the biggest difference now would be, even versus performance of an older Odyssey, it's miles different now. Because the insert works totally different. The sound and the feel is totally different. And now with Stroke Lab, you'll see improvement, and we're very confident in saying that.
That's awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Yeah, you bet, Ron.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet.
And that's Sean, Golf Erics. Thanks for watching.